Hello, 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 good people. Hello, good people. I am Dr. Hollie Kelly, and this is Dr. Kelly's perspective for Thoughtful Thursday, January 24th. Okay, I have a wonderful, wonderful book that I wanted to share with you. I don't know if this looks backwards or not, but it's Warriors Don't Cry. Melba Patillo Bills. Warriors Don't Cry. And let me tell you why I've chosen this book to share with you. And I hope it's an introduction to you. Um, it's the story of the Little Rock Nine. Okay, so for those of you who are new to me, um, I've decided for 2019 that for every Thursday I would share a book or an article or a YouTube, something that has impacted my life to move me forward. And this Thursday, I'm choosing to share with you Warriors Don't Cry, an absolutely fabulous, fabulous book. Not very big at all, but powerful. It's the story of one of the students of Little Rock Nine. And if you have lived in America and Little Rock Nine, even that terminology, Central Rock High, doesn't ring a bell, that is all the more reason for you to pick this book up, especially in the climate that we are living in now. So, as I said, she is one of the Little Rock Nine who chose to um, take us through her year in Little Rock, Arkansas in 1957-ish, during the integration of Central High. So she journaled, she was 15 at the time, and all of her peers, the nine of the peers that went through this experience together, eight of the peers, she was of the nine, they were teenagers. This is what I want you to think about. I'm always interested in, because I don't live in Disneyland. So let me just say this right now. I don't do a lot of fictional books, very, very few. I mean, I have some, but that's just not my genre of choice. But I am always interested in how did people overcome strenuous, difficult, degrading situations in life? What did they hold on to? What did they push, or what pushed them? Who helped them through? Because none of us do this thing alone. So I'm always interested in that, and she does such a phenomenal job of writing. I want you to imagine Deep South in the 50s in this nation, and transport yourself to what you were doing as a 15-year-old, as a 14, 15, 16-year-old, because that's where this book is written from. And again, she diaried. She wrote in her journal all the time. So um, she's able to very powerfully bring us through and walk us through exactly what she was feeling. So I chose just a couple of segments. And again, I'm not going to give the whole. I don't want to give the book away, but I read this as an adult. As a matter of fact, it was introduced to me while I was in my doctoral program. We were in a diversity training, and this was one of the mandated readings. So it's not just, and I have recommended it for young people because they need to understand that what we enjoy today, the luxuries, the privileges that we enjoy today as an American citizen, is not just something to take for granted. People paid a price for that. Okay. And it wasn't like ancient history. Okay. So if Little Rock Nine and the integration of Central High is like you're clueless about that, all the more reason, please pick up the book. Please, it may be on audio. I don't know, it may be on Audible, but either way, it is so worth the read. If you have young people in your lives, please encourage them to read through this. So this is it. I'm just going to read this. No setup necessary. This is a reporter talking to the 9 students. Miss Patillo, how do you feel about going back to Central High? Miss, I whispered as my hands perspired and my knees were shaking. It was the first time anybody white had ever called me Miss. They thought and they cared about what I thought. I struggled to find an answer. And then this is a 15-year-old. We have a right to go to that school, and I'm certain our governor, who is elected to govern all the people, will decide to do what is just. I felt myself speak aloud before I was ready. Who said that? It sounded like me, but the words, where did they come from? Pride welled up inside of me for the first time. I knew that working for integration was the right thing for me to be doing. Okay, 15. 15 in a society, a wider society that was fighting against them. Power never yields power without a fight, ever. And so then so she gives her, so that was from her perspective. But thinking as a mother, and many of us are parents, or we have nieces and nephews, to send your child into a life-threatening situation. How do you do that? How do you knowingly allow your child to be put into a situation where their life is at stake? So one of the reporters asked her mom, Mrs. Patillo, how does a mother decide to send her daughter into such a dangerous situation? Mother Lois was sitting quiet in a corner, but I could tell she was startled by the question. Nevertheless, she stood and said, it indeed is a hard question, but we are a Christian family with absolute faith that God will protect her no matter what. Okay, now see, that's not a soundbite. These families lived through and made these decisions to send their children into a situation brimming with hate, brimming with violence. They made that choice. And a lot of us will sit back and say, I would never put my child through, in a dangerous situation knowingly. But this many years later, we reap the benefits of them having done that. We reap the benefits. This is why I so enjoy reading biographies of people who have lived something, because you get to see live and in color the strength that it took, the fears that they had, the concerns, the worries, the anxieties, and yet we know the end result that they did it. So I'm always interested in how, Holly, what can you learn from them? This little girl was 15 years old and chose to go back into that situation. One other part. This is the part where it reminds me, okay, look, and I'm watching my time. This reminds me, you can smile all you want. You can have all the nice words and the on-point phraseology. People know in their gut. They know in their gut what we really believe about them. So the way, this is back to, this is Melba speaking again, the 15-year-old. The way they responded to me made me feel equal to the white reporters. They looked me directly in the eye, and I never saw any sign they were thinking of calling me the N-word. People know. Even if you try to hide it, even if you try to put a smile over because you're in a position where you really should be treating everybody equally and with justice and dignity, people in their gut know what is really going on inside of you. This was a 15-year-old, and she could tell. And then this is the last portion I'm going to read. I hope I have enticed you enough to please go get it. Warriors don't cry. Okay. I thought to myself, just maybe this is what I want to be when I grow up. If I were a news reporter, I could be in charge of a few things. So that night I wrote in my diary, 15. Today is the first time in my life I felt equal to white people. I want more of that feeling, and I'll do whatever I have to do to keep feeling equal all the time. I apologize, God, for thinking you had taken away my normal life. Maybe you were just exchanging it for a new life. Okay, so the book gets no less riveting through all of that. And she talks about and gives credit to those who supported them, those who stood by them, the 101st Airborne Division who gave themselves. Yes, it was their job, but how you do things matter. And they made an impact on Melba in particular, but the whole of the Little Rock Nine. So again, Thoughtful Thursdays are for book recommendations, and I am encouraging you, not just the grown folks, but our young people. Give them something worth their time. Okay, different topic, but I don't have a problem with paying kids to read at all. I do not have a problem with that at all. This is worthy of your few dollars. I promise you. Warriors don't cry. Pick it up. I would love to hear you, but it will challenge you to step your game up. I'm going to give in. I'm going to relax. I'm going to compromise what I really believe. And these were 15-year-olds who stood through the. Okay, go get the book. Until next time, take real good care of yourselves. Real good care of yourselves.